Hello!
Ciao! Welcome back to our new episode of iMovie Podcast.
After a short break for us, but the same as usual for you.
Yeah, actually now it's every 2 weeks.
Exactly. We haven't recorded in a while, but we are back. And we haven't seen... this is a film that we're talking about today that we haven't watched immediately before recording, which is also different. We watched it a few weeks ago. Two weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's not completely fresh
and
impressions.
It's not completely the format of our podcast, but we didn't want to rewatch it just now. Again.
No, even though it is a great film.
It's great.
One of the best, I think. For me, or at least one of my favourites that I was most excited... Not excited to talk about, but I'm excited to rewatch and always excited to watch because it's
true.
Always been one of my absolute favourites.
So much that the first days that we met, he mentioned it and I didn't watch it. And so since I wanted to impress him a bit, I went home and I watched it. I did my homeworks and I actually liked it very much. But now it's good to watch it together again.
Yeah, it was the first time we watched it together.
Probably not the last.
The film is Princess Mononoke, by the way. We watched it in Japanese, which I've watched the last few times I've seen it in Japanese, but I also saw it a few times in French when I was younger, because when I first discovered it, it was the French dub. Because,
you also were a kid, and
just
animated film for kids, so in which language do you watch it? Especially when you can't read the subtitles.
No, exactly.
Yes, and for me, I always watched it in Japanese, actually. But we watched a few videos of the English dubbed version, and ragazzi, terrible, I would say. Not as good as...
Especially the voice of San.
That woman is evil, and there's no one who can stop me from killing her.
No. Yes, she doesn't sound good at all in English. No. And I'm interested, for people who discovered this film in English rather than Japanese, whether that was ever an obstacle for you, the voice... whether you found the voices convincing or whether it was distractingly... a distraction, let's say.
Yes, or what impression did you get of... what first impression did you get of Sam? Because, I guess the voice really, and so the way you deliver the lines, really gives you a different opinion of the character. And since he's a very strong character in Japanese, in the Japanese version.
In the story, it's a very strong character. And in the story,
absolutely. In English, it's not as strong as it seems in the other versions. So, it's true. That would be very interesting to know. But since we're talking about Sen, who is Sen? Do we know? We give a little recap, I'd say, of the film. So
which I guess a lot of people have seen this film. It came out in 1997. It's directed by Hayao Miyazaki. It's a Studio Ghibli animation. I think it's the first time that the traditional drawing style was combined with computer animation, so it's an advance in the story of Studio Ghibli. It comes after Porco Rosso, and after finishing the direction of that film, Miyazaki set himself into something completely different. So actually the first dip into the Jidaigeki, which is a period drama, or the Japanese period drama set in feudal Japan in the past. And so this film is referred to online as Jidaigeki, but I'm not sure if because the Jidaigeki might also be one specific period of Japanese history, which is in the 1600s, which this film is set much earlier than that, exactly. And in a bit of a fantastical world, but still incorporates many elements of the Jidaigeki tropes, like the samurai, the emperor, the sword fighting, the war, let's say.
Yeah. Well, this film is set in the Muromachi, which is in the 14th century up to the 17th century. So it's a bit... 16th.
I thought it would be earlier than that.
No,
interesting.
But yes. That's what it's...
it makes sense when you think about it. They have some technology that, the gun, for example, that is of that period, that was first invented in that period, so that makes sense. I
no,
mean,
yes,
obviously
of
it wouldn't
course,
be
yeah, no,
earlier,
no,
and they have
absolutely.
like guns and stuff. So
So that was
But yeah.
very interesting. So okay, this is the setting.
And yeah, so the film starts off with our main character Ashitaka, who kills a demon god, a wild boar who's been infected by a curse, to defend his village. And during this kind of encounter, he gets infected by the same curse, which appears on his arm.
Yeah,
and
by the same boar, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
So the origin of our story.
Which means that he's been exiled because he carries this disease, and he wants to find the root of the disease. He knows that he's going to die,
and also to save the village because he's the prince of this village.
And so he wants to journey to the source of the evil, and he just knows that he has to travel west because he's heard that that's where this boar has come from. And so the film kind of tells the story of his odyssey through different adventures. He realizes that this infection has given him kind of supernatural powers, and
that he can't necessarily control.
Exactly.
He tries to, because it's not supernatural. It doesn't necessarily mean good or bad, but it operates without the necessarily agreement of the owner of the body. Let's say
he's been put under a curse.
Of Ashitaka.
And he encounters demon gods of various description, and eventually arrives at a village which is called IronTown, on a lake, which is a kind of fortified structure in which there's a whole community of people forging weapons, and their leader is Lady Eboshi, who's another very important character in the story. And that kind of, we don't want to go through the whole story, but that's kind of, let's say, the setup. And the interaction between the people of IronTown, Ashitaka, the demon gods, and San, the princess of the title, who's been adopted by some wolves, by some demon wolves, and they're kind of the central players in the story.
Yes, and the forest and the nature. But also in the IronTown, it's important, I think, to mention, you can clearly see the division of the population into women and men, and women used to be sex workers and not just workers without sex. They're very free and under the leader of Lady Eboshi, and she is absolutely a woman.
And they also, she also has taken some lepers, so people who suffer from leprosy, and they're also working for her, creating weapons. And somehow she's treated them with a kindness that isn't typical of the way in which lepers were treated in this period.
Yeah, she took them under her protection somehow, and that's very good, or very nice. At least perceived as very nice.
Yeah,
it has some elements of being nice.
And I think that's because we're talking about it already. We might as well talk about it. The fact is that this film is, while being about the dichotomy between humanity and nature, offers a very balanced view. And I think that's really the thing that stands out. This film is that it's not, while it's very critical of some elements of the human effect on nature, it doesn't depict human progress as inherently evil, or the character of Lady Eboshi as a classic antagonist. She has many strong qualities, and equally the characters represent the nature. San and the wolves and the demon gods also have flaws, and they're not pure or perfect in any way. And so,
this is even the most interesting thing somehow, or element of the film, because also, especially because it's animated, and therefore, especially in the western part of the world, has been perceived as for children because it's animation, while it's different. We're taking also a Japanese course, to be honest, Japanese cinema course, and it's very interesting, and also we're learning a lot of things, among which animation in Japan is absolutely not only for children, not at all, but for our Western eyes is perceived as such.
Potentially,
not by often. I mean, now in the last years, no, but especially at the beginning, yes, and especially the Studio Ghibli, which is actually it really works for children too, but it's not. It contains all the complexity of human beings and of society and the world without simplifying too much as other films do. And we recently watched Finding Nemo, and we had this comparison a lot. Like we liked to compare it because I think, as we said, like somehow children need both words. Like one is super simplified, and the other one is really gives you the complexity. I mean, the simplified one is with a lot of repetitions to learn some things, also linguistically speaking. While this one, it gives you, besides the wonderful animation and the beautiful soundtrack and everything, it gives you a lot of the complexity of society, as we said multiple times.
Well, yeah, because I think also beyond the idea that it's more for adults, I think also it presents a view of the world that isn't inherently black and white. And
exactly.
And even a view, I think, of some. I mean, Ashitaka is, I suppose, the protagonist in some traditional sense, but none of the characters in the film fulfill the role of the antagonist to perfection. I mean, there are characters with negative qualities, but they always have more complexity than being purely negative, and their motives are explored of these characters.
Yeah.
And often, even interestingly, for example, I'm thinking of the bounty hunter Jaigo, who could be just perceived as kind of a cartoonish goofball character. In fact, ends up being maybe
Spoiler.
the biggest threat, or the biggest antagonist in the film, or certainly the one that presents the most threat.
Yes, and not only because he's also depicted a bit as a stupid character.
Yeah, exactly. Like the classic animation, like
yes, he knows his way. Actually, he plays with his being a comic character, let's say, or very caricatural, and he uses these perceptions on his favor.
Yeah, and I think, for example, there's one scene where he gives his insight on how to trap a demon god. And, usually in this film, like, I'm just thinking, like, if this was, comparing it to, like, Lord of the Rings or whatever, you'd have the demon gods, which somehow are untouchable beings. But here, they're eminently touchable and flawed, and Jaigo explains that if you cover yourself with the blood of the boar god won't be able to tell the difference between human and boar. And it creates this really creepy sequence in which one of the boar gods is surrounded by humans pretending to be boars, and it's like accompanied by eerie music, and I think that's very effective. And it goes to show that in the world of this film, gods are extremely mortal, and mortals can easily reach the standard of even the most powerful seeming gods. And I think, again, given that our first impression of this character is like the classic cartoon goofball character, the fact that he then presents such a threat is also an interesting message, because it goes to say, appearances can be deceiving. Not only can these things that seem terrifying, like this giant wolf or this giant creature of the forest spirit, in fact be mortal or can be harmed, but also seemingly harmless characters can in fact be extremely dangerous, and the film doesn't shy away from these themes at all.
No, not at all. And yes, and that's one of the elements that makes it great in the end, because both of us liked this film very much in the end, as we mentioned already.
Yeah.
And so and also it.
I mean, also, yes, every character, I think, somewhat has these same things. I mean, Eboshi as well. I don't know if you want to talk about it.
Yes, Eboshi is, I like her a lot as a character. More maybe as a person, let's say. So I like how she's been designed and the details that she brings with her, but I don't necessarily love everything of her, of course, because she represents also the evil. So that's also the thing. I think.
But you kind of cheer her on at some point.
Exactly,
in the film.
because it's the same thing of nothing and nobody is completely evil, and nobody or nothing is completely good.
Yeah, except for the Red Elk of Ashitaka.
He's a cutie, but okay, we need an element of
he is a beautiful character.
Because also it's pure. It's an animal that is just being an animal. I mean, yes.
That's my favourite character of the film somehow.
Yes, he's wrong. And we understand why, and I think it's also very relatable for children too. Very colorful, very nice, very the perfect ally of the main character.
And the only silent animal, or one of the few silent animals.
It's true, because the other ones
speak
talk.
a lot.
Yeah, or they make noises.
Yeah.
Or there are creatures of the forest that are tick, 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 tick. And that's very interesting too.
Plus, the Lady Eboshi is completely, as you say, two-faced. I mean, is a three-dimensional character in that many of her motivations, not all of which are pure, are put on, are displayed, and you kind of support and engage with a lot of the things she does, while also not disagreeing with her destruction of the forest.
Yeah, exactly. Also, because at the beginning she's presented as a positive character, because she's taking care of the.
I think we see both sides, because she also is the one who fired the bullet that infected the wolf. The mother wolf.
At the beginning,
the first time we meet her, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so yes, it's true. Okay, we see like the complexity, but at the same time, you can see that she's a nice woman. She also takes care of our main character, so it's like she has something good, and her intentions, in a certain way, are very good, because she's trying to, keeps her village alive, and to take care really of the people, because she cares of those people. You can see that she knows them. They interact. She listens to them. So this already is like a peculiar trait of a sort of dictator, because in the end she's the leader, but she's on charge.
But I mean, she's presented as a very
powerful
yet kindly, but flawed, because also there's moments where she prioritizes her own glory. For example, in killing the forest spirit over the security of her people.
That's true. But also at the same time, that's why, because she wanted, in the end, to destroy the forest. I mean, to kill the spirit of the forest, to then be able to extract the iron from that forest. That would have allowed the people to survive.
It was also because if she delivered the head of the forest spirit to the emperor, he would have left their village alone.
Okay, so again,
it's for the protection of the village.
Yeah, exactly, which is her main priority and her main worry, let's say. In the end, is the engine of her actions.
Yeah. In some ways, she mirrors a bit San's character, because both of them will do anything to defend the place that they're from, and therefore they clash a lot against each other, of course.
But also because of the the body of San, she's with the wolves, because she's a wolf inside, just her body's not.
Yeah.
Even if then it takes the shape of, somehow she's adapting also, because it's usually how you are inside is reflected on your outside, and so she's doing it. But in all this, and also, Lady Eboshi is trying to protect her village, and we said already, there are some outcasts in this village. So that's also a beautiful, interesting topic, because, again, Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli are giving space to the outcasts, and he's giving value to them, to be honest, because the ex-sex workers are extremely irreverent, free. They are joyful, cheerful. They are hard workers. They are intelligent, and they're able to do and to get organized. They are also cohesive.
They aren't submissive to their partners.
Not at all, and not even to the leader. Somehow they respect her a lot. But if they don't agree, they make it absolutely clear. And that's part of the beauty. And they also have a very sexual desire, very strong sexual desire. Because when Ashitaka arrives, they are all like, oh, who is this beautiful, nice boy? Oh, please, come and work with us. Look at us. Oh, we're beautiful. Oh, who is that little piece of, I don't know, cake? I didn't say that, but something like that. That is the tone. And that's, I think, very unusual. I don't know if it is because actually for Studio Ghibli, because I haven't seen any prior film of Miyazaki.
I've seen a few.
I've seen like Nausicaa is before that.
I don't remember that's thematic in Nausicaa, but I haven't seen it more.
But I mean,
But
for sure is a bit unusual in general.
No, yeah, for sure. No, I agree. Yeah,
In the world. So that's beautiful. And on the other side, yes, there are these men that are also, they also have their own spirit. They are quite portrayed as, let's say, not super intelligent mostly, but they care about their wives and about certain societal things or elements.
And I think what I really like about this film is that every character is given importance and value. And there's it's a 2.5 hour film, less than 2.5. I mean, it's 2 hours, 10 minutes. And yet it creates such an intricate world, so full of vivid characters and I think there's probably dozens of characters in this film who you really you can identify, and even with just a short amount of time, the film creates like this colourful cast of characters. For example, you have Eboshi's assistant, whose name now escapes me, but he's also got an important role in the film. And you have the two other wolves who are kind of Sans brothers, who also don't have so much time on screen, but also you really grow attached to. Yeah. And then you even have like these small appearances, for example, of the monkeys, in which there's a scene where Ashitaka and San and two of the wolves have got Ashitaka, and there are some monkeys that want to eat him. And these are drawn with very simplistic pencil lines and minimalist animation and have very deep voices. And it's one of the many scenes in the film that has quite an unnerving effect. And it's, again, just this amazing world that's been created in the space of 2 hours and 10 minutes. Also, not based on a book, not based on it's an original story, which is just incredible. Yeah. And I just think, like, if this had been, I feel like there's, in these videos, we often talk about the difference between American film and non-Hollywood film. And I think if this had been a Hollywood film, it would have had sequels and spin-off series and prequels and a whole extended universe built around it. Yeah. And the fact that there's never been a sequel, and let's face it, there never will be, I think is really great. And it's just, I don't know, the fact so much is created, this amazing universe is created just in the space of one film, really. It's a fantasy film that isn't based on a book, and I think that's really one of the most, not just in terms of animated films, but in terms of any fantasy films, or really any films ever made. It's just, for me, has to be among the best, because it creates such a complex world full of nuance and these amazing characters who all represent real ethics and real human or non-human traits. And all of that in the space of 2.5 hours, combined with sensational animation, amazing visuals, and just a stunning soundtrack, which is my personal favorite soundtrack of all time. I think, that's just, for me, talking about this film is always hard. It's hard for me to be objective, because I think I'm very pro Princess Mononoke.
So you very much are. And I wanted to add, coming back to the comparison of Hollywood and, in this case, Japanese cinema, when this film had to come out in the US, Harvey Weinstein decided that, oh no, spoiler about the the ending of the film, but it's very important, yes. The two main characters, Sen and Ashitaka, had to end up together. No, that doesn't work. And I'm so glad that Hayao Miyazaki told him that's not going to happen. I'm sorry.
They also wanted to make a lot of cuts to make the film shorter and more accessible.
See, that's absolutely... But also, again, like, okay, more accessible for whom? Why do you think that people who are watching your films are not able to understand these films? In fact, it was a beautiful success, this film. In Japan, it was so successful that it was like the most successful at the time, until then Titanic came. So yes, basically he wanted them to end up together, but no, because they're two completely different worlds.
No, and I think it's so great, and it goes against the grain of, because watching this as a kid, you're used to the two protagonists, especially when they're male and female, ending up together at the end of this type of film. of an animated film, and the fact that they don't, and not even, and they say that they will visit each other as friends, but they stay with their own people. Ashitaka goes back to rebuild the Iron Village, and San stays with the wolves as is her place.
See, because they're not compatible in this sense.
No, but
they
also
love
it's
each
a beautiful
other.
ending, I think.
Exactly, but also it gives it. I think also like especially for children to see this representation, it means you can love someone, but you can also understand you can't stay together in the same way or in the same conventional ways, and they want to keep together. And yes, again, love has many different nuances, and it's much more. Is again also, it's important to. You love someone when you, okay, it's the cliche, but when you're able to let the person go, to let the person be who they are, and this is the case because they are not neither of the two is compromising. They think about it at some point, and then they realize is not how they would be happy. They wouldn't be happy. They would be both in each other's world. They would be out of. They would be uncomfortable and out of place.
Yeah.
It would be
for
out
obvious
of place.
reasons, because I mean, there's no.
Yeah, she's a wolf and he's a human.
Exactly, and I think also, as you were saying before about the success of this film trend, I think this is the film that also propelled Studio Ghibli to being properly famous in the West, because they already had some recognition, but I think from this point on, from Princess Mononoke onwards, every film since then of Ghibli has had a more and more. I mean, has managed to become famous somehow. No,
Yes, it's true.
Starting with Spirited Away, which was
is
also
the
in the top
next
250.
one,
Then with Howl's Moving Castle, which again is on the top 250.
It's true. And then even the last one of 2 years ago.
The Boy and the Heron.
Exactly. Boy and the Heron.
Although I have to say, and again personally, I'm interested, and I think this is, and then potentially, somewhere where I'm in the minority of Ghibli fans. For me, none of those other films ever reach Princess Mononoke's level. I think Howl's Moving Castle I really love, and I think it's beautiful. Spirited Away I think is visually stunning, and yet I've never connected to either of the two as much as Princess Mononoke, which for me, in terms of the story, the world, has immersed me just that bit more and is more close to my heart than any of the other Ghibli films.
But what if this is also influenced by the fact that you watched it as a...
Well, I also watched the others.
No, sorry. Not only you watched it, but you loved it the most as a child.
No, but I also really like... I really like Howl's Moving Castle.
No, I know. We watched it also in the past, of course, together. For me, my own favorite is Howl's Moving Castle. But actually, I can absolutely understand the beauty of...
Howl's Moving Castle is also a great film. It's just stunning.
No, I know. You think so. He loves it. Definitely. Not as much as Princess Mononoke, because for you it's unreachable somehow.
I think Princess Mononoke would be in my top... It's one of my top 10 films of all time. Across any genre or anything.
Yeah, which is crazy. I mean, I understand. No, it's good. It's crazy, the film. I mean, it's so magical. Some elements keep it magical in terms of like really, as a child especially, I think. I never watched it as a child. You are getting attracted to this world that really can't exist in real life, and so many little details are playing part of this, of the building of this. Yes, magic. You're
attracted to the world, but also many elements are very scary. Especially as a child. That first scene where the demon god arrives and the soundtrack plays, called The Demon God, which maybe I can play a snippet of here. I think that scene, what an opening to a children's film, because it's really scary. That first sequence is creepy as hell. I mean, the visuals of the worms covering the boar.
Was there a scene that you were calling your mom to... I don't know.
I remember maybe that one, and I remember when the mum wolf dies at the end. That was always very sad.
Spoiler.
the wolf, the demon goddess wolf, the mother of San.
To save San.
And then she bites off the arm of Lady Eboshi.
That makes me cry pretty side now. So, it's true. And in fact, also another, because while watching the film, we took some notes, in this case, especially me. And the first thing I wrote was creepy and yet, but creepy was the first word. And then I wrote and yet fascinating / cute / beautiful / charming.
Yeah.
Because it is all these things all together. Also, to be honest, the characters are very, very beautiful.
And we haven't mentioned Ashitaka, by the way, who I think is important to state that I think a lot of his character, because at first glance he can seem like a traditional hero with traditionally heroic values, in some sense he is, but I think a lot of that, the genesis of a lot of that is the sense of mortality that comes from the knowledge of his imminent death, that he knows that he's going to die soon because of this curse, and therefore he can become fearless, and he can do the right thing because he knows he's going to die in any case. So I think that's a big part of his character, and that his go on.
That together with his being very young, and therefore, because I felt like a lot at the beginning he's a bit of a child, not understanding everything of the world, also feeling the sense of injustice, and he wants to fight the injustice, and he wants to travel around to manage to solve the problem, because he feels like he can alone do this, the travel of the hero and journey. And then the more he grows, the more he understands alone he can't do all these things, and he can't change the whole world, because the whole world is such a huge thing, complex and full of too many elements to only one person and be able to destroy everything. And so he matures and he creates connections and everything. He, as you said, like, he understands he's not invincible, and he has to and he can die somehow, and he has to suffer to do that, because he also suffers because of the evil that has taken the curse that has taken his arm, and that will expand. Because again, also when you become adult, and everybody has some evil parts that in some moments expand, some moments not. I don't know, all these symbolisms drives me crazy. It's so beautiful. And it's very typical of Studio Ghibli, I have to say, and Miyazaki specifically, maybe. And then you reach with him the maturity. Even like, again, in the love story, at the beginning he wants to be with her, yes or yes. He's also very determined in reaching her and stay with her even when she doesn't really want to. And then at the end he understands that he has to take into consideration many elements, and the life is not only
kind of coming of age story, his own coming of age story occurs of the film. And you also see that San also and manages to grow some sort of affection for him, and even more beautifully, her wolf brothers manage to grow affection for Ashitaka's Red Elk, and eventually they manage to work together, despite the fact they wanted to eat it at first.
Exactly. But also there they learn to know him and his intention. They know that he's actually good, trying to be good at least. Even if he keeps connections with with all the different worlds that are in the picture. And so in some moments he can look like an enemy, because he has some agreements with the enemies. But again, what is it breaking down? That the real enemy is not someone else. It's like, it's also the way we behave and go against our official enemy. So they could create a dialogue more, and actually what they do is just clashing more and more. And what does it bring to the destruction of the forest, which is also, that scene is so amazingly done.
There's so many, if you're talking about amazing scenes, I've got a whole list, but I'd say the some scenes that always stick in my head as being absolutely stunning. Firstly, the scene, I mean, sorry, but the first scene where Ashitaka travels west and the The music kicks in. His own theme kicks in for the first time. You have this absolutely stunning visual and a shot from a long way out of him strolling across this vast plain, and you get a real sense of the scale of his journey. It's just gorgeous animation, which always sticks in my head visually. That's maybe the first shot I think of when I think of this film. Secondly, you have the sequence where it's a flashback sequence, again with amazing music, where Eboshi remembers the moment where she shot the boar god. And again, it's like she's standing on the edge of this cliff with fire in the background, and they have like this sinister music playing. And again, the visuals just incredible in that sequence, which I will show the visuals now, but always sticks in my head. And then the first time the demon god appears in full form, and you have the three trappers, because the demon god appears in the form of a strange deer in the day, but in the night becomes a giant spirit that stands tall over all the trees of the forest. And the first time you witness that, it's again a stunning scene, really amazing. And all these images, I think, created again without any source material directly for this film, and I think there's so many iconic images coming from this. And another thing I wanted to mention is there's a moment where Ashitaka talks to some of Eboshi's soldiers who were forced by the samurai to stand in the front row of while the boars were charging, and they've seen many of their comrades blown up. And I think it's a real comment on the way in which in wars the actual individual soldiers are so often forgotten, and they've even though Eboshi won the battle against the boars, they've you see how traumatized they are, and again it's dark for a children's film, that sequence, but it's really good.
Yeah, no,
it's real depth and kind of bone chilling, and the flashbacks to all the gore and violence.
But I think it's also important to show it, even if so hard and harsh to children, because many children in the end will grow becoming soldiers, which is also a recurrent theme in other Miyazaki, even House Moving Castle. War is so much
anti-war themes are always present in Miyazaki's films.
Yeah. Exactly. So, and children get educated in remembering also we say, yes, war soldiers. Who are they? We can empathize a lot with them. We can be them, and that's, I think, yes, it's true. One of the most beautiful things, or at least one of the great elements. Aspects.
Well, you see, it's as they said in World War One, it's lions led by donkeys. So you see the bravery of the foot soldiers who are in the front line and have basically been sent to die by their leaders, who, for them, they're just like pawns in their game. And that's also shown. And it's yet another little, I don't know, whole world of complexity, a whole world of nuance. It's shown just in one or two scenes, which I think is very well done. There's so many great things, so many great nuances about this film. Also,
I agree that, and together with that, and somehow, which starts with the boar becoming evil because of the bullet.
Yeah, symbolic. Yeah,
symbolic of modernity hitting the traditional world, infecting not only nature but also the life in general. Yeah. And that's a very interesting topic, it's a whole thing, because we have modernity presented by Lady Eboshi, a modernity that is destructive and yet protects and gives life to people who were considered outcasts.
Well, and offers genuine progress in some regards.
Exactly, so much. And so, again, it's the complexity of this new world, or new worlds that are creating, and but they are not only evil or only wonderful and so progressive, which is actually quite typical to have one or the other.
But I think it would be one or the other. It would be either from Eboshi's point of view, a conquest of the forest, or it would be from the point of view of San, a defense of nature, and in the same way that Avatar addresses probably interesting themes, but in a quite a simplistic way. Princess Mononoke has infinitely more depth because it shows the problems and good sides of both nature and humanity, as we say. And also, it doesn't idealize nature. I mean, you see
No.
the harsh side of the demon gods and of these forest animals, and nature
the
can
creepy
be
side even, like...
and nature can be extremely unforgiving and brutal, and that's not shied away from. You see how the boars can be cruel and how the wolves want to eat. Because, of course, they're wolves. That's the way it is, and it's not idealized as these cute, fluffy animals. True. They're shown as quite horrific, and yet you empathize with them because their forest is being taken. Yeah.
And also, they're not only strong or only even like the god of the spirit of the forest. They are not necessarily, like supernatural. They are not powerful,
omnipresent, omnipowerful,
omnipotent. Sorry, sometimes in Italian it's onnipotente, ma vabbè. Because they also, again, like as you were saying before, they can be
flawed.
And at the same time, is also that part of nature is not perfect.
Yeah,
nature can be fallible.
Yeah.
And that also is very interesting. At its best, nature can be creepy as fuck.
And beautiful at the same time. And the same things that can be creepy can also be beautiful, as the forest where it is.
Yes, and also, again, like maybe, during the day is one thing, during the night is another. That's beautiful.
I think, again, it's such a brilliant film. And I think there's a couple of other things we've noted down to mention. Firstly, the word Mononoke, which I always automatically assume that it's her name, but it's nothing to do with San's character. She is the princess of the title, but the word Mononoke actually means demon or spirit in Japanese. So the title means demon princess.
Which is all perfectly matching.
Which makes sense.
It plays with different concepts also. Like one is very supernatural and
the pure
related
to...
No, I thought like the demon, is supernatural.
Nature. Sure. The clash between the two words.
Yeah, exactly. And Princess, which is super hierarchical, and societal, and the human, so much human. So it's a beautiful contrast, and yet it's matching. So again, what are they telling us? The two things can't be separated. And again, like what they're telling us too is. You can't think about the world that exists only in nature or only in urbanized society.
Places, there has to be a balance.
Yeah, but also we have to face that that's not possible. I mean, we have just to make the two words, if they are two actually. I noted down also a line that the mother wolf said, "I feel the cry of every tree falling or dying." I don't remember what she said. And this for me was like, okay, is a wolf, is so much part of the forest, and to feel your own world being destroyed by people who are also part of you somehow, and they would also die with the trees falling down. That for me is such a beautiful representative image, very effective. It's like a single line that represents, I think, and symbolizes very much the whole philosophy more than the film itself necessarily. And that for me is worth being mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful message.
And that mother wolf, Moro, is played by a Japanese drag queen whose name is Akihiro Miwa. So worth pointing out because that's an important casting decision, and someone who's been historically influential in queer Japanese culture.
See, because again, it's 1997, and it's very nice that the production chose someone who would be an outcast, and even today often is.
And I wonder I don't remember who plays the American version.
Yeah, me neither. I also was wondering, but we can find maybe a clip and put it here. Because also
great voice, by the way, and so many great voices in the Japanese version.
Because Clem during the film was telling me, I remember as a child I was always very fascinated by the voice of the mother wolf, because it really matches again another powerful woman in the end.
Yeah,
and
Of which there's many
character.
in this film.
Yes, and the voices are so important because it's animated. I mean, and that's beautiful. And also the wilderness of the wolves and even of Sen. She's, I mean, we read a few reviews. A few were about in another life I would like to be Sen. I would like to be Sen, yes. And yet at the same time, I feel like I don't know. This film is making me face the fact that I can't really be Sen because I'm too much a girl grown in the cities, and nature can be so wild and so.
And she does eat a lot of raw meat, which probably is not the healthiest.
No. Besides that, we don't want to eat meat, so yeah, it's not really. But besides that, also she's very brave. Her body is fit. It fits the nature, that type of nature that my body wouldn't absolutely, and it's.
And she can speak to the wolves.
That's perfect. And I'm not able to do that
No.
yet.
Yeah.
I can practice a bit. Exactly. Another thing that is interesting is that again, the spirit of the forest is super powerful and super great and whatever, but it's not. Is fallible too, or at least.
Yeah, which is no. And it's also because it appears at first in this kind of pure manner, surrounded by light with kind of this like gentle music, and it kind of brings back to life. And at the end, you see that it doesn't just bring back to life, but it also brings death and destruction.
Yes, yeah. At the end is so scary. Again, it's so beautiful, and
it's mortal again. Mortal gods, big theme of this film.
See, that's beautiful.
And I would like also to note a few other things. Firstly, the masks in this film that are extremely cool, especially San's mask, which appears on the poster that we have next doors. That
you will have seen probably at the beginning of this video.
Yeah, we can put that in. Yes. But the poster is, and that mask is extremely cool. That's first worth noting. And then so many. I mean, this is really a film that I really have met. I could go on for a long time about all the great things in it, but I feel like we've done a good job of covering a lot of themes.
See, another thing that I noted down that somehow we covered a bit, but it's true that in the end, Ashitaka manages to cohabit his body with the demon.
Yeah.
And so his demon the demon of his body.
Isn't it removed at the end?
No, I think it's there. At the very end.
I think it's very removed at the very end, yeah.
But in some moments, as we said, it goes against Ashitaka, and then Ashitaka manages to control it, and then it manages to become his strength.
Yeah, also, by the way, the scenes where he shoots people with an arrow and the head just pops off, again, it's not something you're used to seeing in a kid's film.
No, exactly. But it's done in a bit... It's not super pretty.
It's not close up and it's not gory, but you feel it gory. Though. I think.
Yeah, it's true. But it's made in a cartoonish way.
Yeah, although the combination with the music makes it still. I mean, it still hits. It's not. Yes. You still feel.
I remember it. Yeah. Also because it's a neat cut.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that happened. It's true. You don't expect it necessarily. No. But you see many. And also. And then again, you see many different scenes that are quite strong and many themes, among which absolutely death.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, death
characters learn to cope with it and to accept it.
Yeah.
And it's part of the nature.
Well, like with the lepers, in fact, that's again imminent death. It remains a theme, whether it's Ashitaka for them, that people have to face their own mortality a lot. Even the gods in this film have to face their own mortality. And the way in which they decide to face death is kind of a continuous... The way in which different characters choose to do that, choose to go to their death. Whether it's the boars in the army or the mother wolf or Ashitaka. That's a decision that they have to make throughout the film.
It's true. So basically, it's a great film.
How would you rate it and rank it compared to other Ghiblis and other animated films and the top 250 of Letterboxd?
Allora, let's start saying that officially today, that is the 19th of September 2025, it's the 74th of the Letterboxd top 250 feature-length film list.
Yeah.
I would rank it probably higher, for sure higher. Compared to the Ghibli, probably would be in the top 3. As I said, my favorite is still House Moving Castle.
What about Totoro?
Totoro I liked so much. In fact, I was thinking about that also, but I have to watch a few more. But Totoro I like very much.
So Nausicaa is worth seeing.
And that I haven't seen yet. Even Spirited Away, to be honest, I liked it. I liked very much, but it's more for adults in a certain way. But the fact is,
Princess Mononoke, you think?
See, because of the themes. But it's different ways.
I think both are. I think both are the same in that regards. But I rewatched Spirited Away recently, and it's for adults, but I think so is Princess Mononoke. They both have those underlying themes.
Of course. No, I mean in general, is some themes are very much for adults, but not only for adults. But let's say there are different layers of being understood and interpreted. As any given film, to be honest. But I would say in general, the fact is, A House Moving Castle, maybe the second time I watched it, really stayed with me in a way that was like, wow, my mind completely blew. And so for that reason, somehow it's also in my heart.
Of course. It's brilliant.
And the same for me works with many other animated films. I think it's hard when you're adult. If they hit you very much, then they deserve to be very, very on top of your list. Like for me, Wolf Walkers, I didn't expect it, but I loved it.
Which probably took a lot of inspiration from Mononoke, funnily enough.
In fact, I also noted down, that, and also Avatar, as you mentioned, I think many things were taken.
Many films.
Even somehow I thought about Attack on Titan because the giants are very similar to some creatures of Princess Mononoke. But in general, I would say yes. I don't know in the ranking, but I would be maybe if we consider all the animated films, top 5, because Spirited needs to be there, Shrek needs to be there, House Moving Castle needs to be there.
And I would say that for me, it's hard to put any film above Mononoke, any film at all. Like if you ask me, is this film better than Mononoke? It's hard for me to say yes. But I think that for sure it deserves to be in the top 250. That's not even a question. I would absolutely place it in the top, probably my top 10. It's hard to compare great films when you really love them because it's across different fields and different genres, so it's hard to compare. But for sure, it's going to be hard in the next episode to find a film that we are as passionate about as this one.
Probably it will be, since we're taking this Japanese cinema course, some films that we will watch.
Late spring,
it's true, by Ozu. And we will watch it at the cinema.
Yes.
That's very beautiful. And for that film, probably we'll have even more anecdotes because we'll have some readings to do.
And I've never seen Late Spring, so I'll be interested.
Me neither. And then the same week, actually, we'll be watching Yojimbo.
Yeah, but it will be.
Okay.
Yeah. Always a pleasure to talk about Princess Mononoke. And
probably many other things will come to our mind, but we can have a longer discussion in the comments. And thank you. Yes, no, you can let us know what you think.
And bye.
Bye.